Okay, I guess we're live. So, hello. Today is the, I guess, 28th of May 2023, and this will be a bit, a bit special one, of course, because I finished my second leap, and it was another 70 days from the 20th of March to, I guess, to the 28th of May, so till today basically, and from tomorrow the new leap will start, which we'll discuss in the next part. Unfortunately, as I didn't have many time today, I've forgotten to prepare the script, or I couldn't do that. This one will be a little more live-ish, a little bit more spontaneous, and a lot less structured than the previous episodes. But considering the previous two episodes was just 1 minute videos, as I've rewatched them kinda, so yeah, I guess the same style basically. But even then, I had time to write something, write the script, and today I have just bullet points that I can discuss, and that's it. So let's take a look at the table overall. Haven't showed it quite for a while. Let's discuss the details. So the first effort was the CSharp programming language. I decided to pick it over the JavaScript, but the effort was, as you may see here, absolutely unrelatable. So the idea at first was to solve lead code problems and learn programming overall, but then the money stimulus, money incentives kick in. So I decided to if I'm already learning how to program, let's learn how some of the popular languages, of course, aside of it. So not aside, but at the same time, and that's kind of what screwed the whole effort, because there was no clear goal, what I wanted to achieve, etc., etc. As you may see here, I had a couple of streaks down the line, but overall the effort, I guess, is absolutely unsustainable. It has to be changed in the next clip, which we'll discuss somewhere in the next part of this video. Now let's move to the university part. And at first, this was the joint column, so it was university, and university again proven to be, it was very successful at first when I was going to university, but otherwise, again, no clear goal, no clear like motivation behind university, so I just had to show up there, and that was basically it. So can say that this effort was fruitful, or effort/practice, because I just had to show up. It's like with my daily work, 9 to 5 job. So you have to show up, but you absolutely do nothing that kind of moves you to your goal. So you do basically nothing there, nothing interesting, nothing useful. You just had to be there to just grind for money. And this university thing is just, of course, there were some useful courses. So, but overall, I guess just showed up there and made my homework. That's what was this practice all about. And I guess putting it in the practices column was a good idea. At first it was in the efforts, but overall it's just a practice. I wanted to track time, and in the practice part, in the practice section, I guess this is where that's the place where this column kind of belongs. So I can track time, but overall no efforts made in this direction. So I just had to show up just to finish my degree, and yeah. On the other hand, the thesis part, which appeared somewhere around here, so somewhere around 23rd of April, it captured all my efforts towards writing thesis. And one important thing that I've done to finish my thesis in time was to clearly focus myself for these, I don't know how many days, so basically 9 days, so from here to here, 9 days to finish this thing. Am I right? Yeah, 9 days. So I was totally focused on my thesis, and I can translate this. So in Russian, it's like basically finished my thesis. This focus moment was what I wanted initially from this efforts part. So as you may see here, you have a clear period of a clear focus streak. So, and during this focus streak, you can see here I worked pretty hard, and it made the result. So I received recommendation to assign my not assign to assess my work basically for 9 out of 10, which is A plus. In my opinion, it's a very good result. I still have to defend it, but yeah, I was able to create a web application. I was able to write 50 pages of text. Of course, the text there is not very scientific, etc., because all my work could be shrinking to 10 pages, but the requirements are the requirements. So we just had to write these 50 pages of text and aside create like my web application, which I wanted initially. This web application was a nice thing, as I've decided to use Blazor, and this moment of my determination to build this application in Blazor was very, very inspiring for me in some sense, because I hadn't have this moment for ages or for a month when I had to choose one technology and then do it. So I had an immense pleasure, and I was very inspired to build this in Blazor, because all the work that was done previously was about choosing the right framework. I was choosing between React, between Kotlin, between Angular, Vue. I even watched towards Svelte. Then I've watched or looked at Blazor and etc. And you don't have to be very clear to understand that these actions are, first of all, are not actions at all. So when you are comparing uncomparable, it's not an action, it's just a waste of time, just procrastination. And the second, this procrastination is actually useless because you don't achieve anything. So you don't have any results, any conclusions, any milestones that you've hit, and that's it. But this time I've decided that I'll take Blazor because, again, I do really like CSharp. I think it's a nice language, but yeah. No, but I wanted to say that I had a great pleasure doing this, so I haven't worried about am I using Vim, am I using NeoVim, am I doing this on Linux, etc. Just took the Windows basically machine for tweaked it a little bit, so I've removed the taskbar, removed the notifications, basically removed anything except of Visual Studio. So when I wake up, there's only Visual Studio and the browser. These are two apps that I need to build a web application, and I was very focused during this moment, and I was really happy during this time. And after that, I've looked at the result, and for me it was very beautiful because I find things or artifacts that contain human labor, human effort to be very, very beautiful actually. So when you put in the struggle, it always pays off. Do I want to do this once again? I think it was a little bit too much, but still, yeah, it was a struggle, of course, and your brain don't like to struggle. So right now, I don't think I'll repeat this effort, but I definitely know that I will. Okay, sounds a little bit unclear, but that's how it is. Now let's move to the habits part, and the introduction of habits was another great milestone, another great iteration from leap 1 to leap 2, and this habit is a very nice reference. So I've even managed to, for quite some time, sustain 2 habits already. So it's like doing exercise at morning and brushing my teeth twice a day. And for me, this streak for 70 days in a row, I've managed to brush my teeth. And even it sounds funny that this man just needs a Google sheet to brush his teeth, but whatever it takes, man, the result is here. So I've kind of hit it. Just need to brush my teeth last today's evening, and that's it. 100% of SLA was achieved, and I'm pretty happy with that. It also shows like this small action, this small habit is actually a great reference that nothing stops you from, if you define the habit correctly, which is you've made it an action, you've made it an atomic, and you do have like motivation to do it, so you understand why you should do it. That's basically a nice brick to build your day-to-day routine. So yeah, and this habit shows that I'm capable of doing this if the habit is correct. Again, you are fully responsible for doing it, and I kind of like it. So the goal of this habit part was to get the reference, and I've got it, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now let's move to the world event, and the world event started, it already lasting for 12 weeks, as I've started it, I guess, in the 8th week of the first leap, but today is the 10th week of the second leap, so 12 weeks already. The event consisted of two parts. The first part, I've already said it many times, I failed right after the second week. Don't know how to overcome this addiction. So yeah, still struggling with it, but I think that it could be easily overcome. Yeah. So if you have the habits to substitute it, and still I don't have anything to substitute it, so it's basically just fighting the windmills, and that's it. There is a whole culture of like Sigma males and all of this, and I was really influenced by it for quite a while, and I thought that the only path to success basically is to stop like beating your meat and like diary your thoughts, don't watch recommendations, etc., etc. But these boys just don't tell you that it's not enough, basically. So if you restrict it from YouTube, restrict it from your from your energy source, if you can call it so. If you ask people to write things, that's not moving them towards their goal. It's like supplementary things. Yeah, they are important, and all these like basically this is writing in some sense. So writing down my habits, writing down my thoughts, recording my time, that's the habit. That's the diarying stuff, some form of diarying, and it's very important, of course, but that's not what really moves you towards your goals. So and I was thinking that if I just restrict myself from everything, that will be all right. But yeah, there is, of course, not so these actions are not so black and white as Sigma communities tend to claim. So for now, the second part of the Great Land, it was to turn off the recommendations, and this part I finished successfully, in my opinion. Right now, I don't have recommendations at my phone, at my iPad, but I do have them in my Chrome browser. But because I can't take my notebook everywhere I go, so I can take it, but it's just the addiction from this short video content is that when you're, for example, riding or commuting to your work, you take your phone and the application is there. But for me, it's not the case, so I cannot just take my laptop out of my bag and start watching YouTube. So for me, this is not feasible right now, which I'm very happy. So and I also balancing this thing with having recommendations turned on my notebook. I can easily control them, so I can turn off previews, I can turn off the recommendations at all. So just basically removing the shorts and the homepage of YouTube and all the comments, all the things. So I have basically all the control about even 20 parts of this recommendation engine, and for me it's okay. I'm okay with that. If I want to watch more content, more new content. If I may be out of ideas, I just go and turn off turn off these extensions, which are distraction-free YouTube. Uh, um, Let me see. So yeah, distraction-free YouTube and high YouTube thumbnails, and that's it. I'm done. I'm free from this recommendation cell, and if I do not want to do this, I simply turn them on, and that's it. Okay, now will I continue this? I think yes. I've had a debate inside my head whether I should continue this streak or should I quit, and I think that if it would be possible, I'll try to maybe continue this, but there is a serious problem. Basically, from the economic perspective. First of all, I do have two subscriptions right now, which is Spotify and YouTube Music, so YouTube Premium. They cost about the same, but in YouTube you have all this content, you receive it ad-free, and you also get music. And while the Spotify recommendation engine is completely garbage, so it's complete trash, it doesn't recommend me good songs. I don't want to pay for it anymore, so my subscription ends in September, for a month from now. But I don't want to. I do not want to continue it. But the only thing that Spotify did great was the podcasts, and I only use Spotify for podcasts. But again, it's a very stupid thing. But in Spotify, you have this regional restrictions. So, for example, I want to watch like Friedman podcast or listen to it, and I can't do this from my location because I don't know. This man is just he's a very smart guy, but I don't know whether he doing this, or for example, I want to listen to Andrew Huberman, which is another great guy, but I just can't do this. The podcast doesn't load, and that's it. I need to turn on the VPN, and in that case, it works. But YouTube works. YouTube works in any case. So for me, YouTube is just better place to listen to podcasts, and the YouTube Premium subscription is the go-to. But I have to install the application, and the downsides of this decision I've already described earlier, which is basically less control over how recommendation works and the ability to through I don't know. So yeah, it's not a way out. It's not a way out. Next, let's talk about the pinnacle achievement of the sleep. And in my opinion, my discovery of the fear of missing out was the pinnacle achievement of the sleep. I for a long time I had the problem where I had too many things inside my head. They were like basically crushing with each other, and they were very interconnected. So, for example, I decided to go to program, and there I've hit a wall of so many languages. I had to learn JavaScript, CSharp, Python, Java, etc., etc. And the only reason I did this was basically fear of missing out. And initially, I thought that the problem was that I lacked the direction, I lacked the goal, and right now I do understand that this is not true. The only thing which cripples my journey in programming is basically fear of missing out. So when I was programming in C# for a long time, but then I see the JavaScript framework and the guy who champions this JavaScript framework, and of course he will be championing it because maybe he is the creator, or maybe he's already understood the power of it, such so basically. And then you think that you are kind of missing something. So this guy is so happy, he's like presenting this new Svelte thing, and yeah, there are so many new technologies, exciting technologies, and you want to be part of it, but then you kind of have to learn another framework which is just a useless thing. Svelte currently isn't used in production much. Still, the market is dominated by React, and it will continue to be dominated. I think that every technology that kind of breaks this backwards compatibility will not be very widespread. So because the React team, for example, they doesn't stand still. They also improve their framework, and they offer the compatibility with the existing code bases, and Svelte just another piece of tech. And it's very inspiring to watch and how it compiles, how it is blazingly fast, etc., etc. But essentially, you're just fearful of you not getting something, and that's it. So yeah, how to counter it, I still haven't truly decided how should I deal with it. But what? I don't know what. So it's just the right word. And in my opinion, I've already said that finding correct word to describe the situation is very, very important, because it gives you the ability to target this drawback and improve on this. Because when I was thinking that the problem of mine is that I don't have a clear strategy, a goal, etc., etc., I think that I should have, I should go and figure out what is my life meaning is, all these ephemerical things. But that's not the case. So the problem is not that I do lack the direction. I do understand. So from strategic point of view, strategy is basically a diagnosis of the situation. So you have to, when you're conducting the strategic analysis, you're analyzing the market, analyzing your advantages, disadvantages, analyzing. So it's basically how you think you will be competitive and profitable in the long run. But that's not the case with me. So I already knew that in order to be successful, you have to do first, second, third. So you have to know mathematics, you have to know like programming language, you have to know physics, and that's basically your competitive advantage. You have to have business education. In my case, that's already done. Not exactly, but just 2 weeks from the thesis defense. So yeah, this was not the lack of strategy, but rather lack of tactical understanding that, yeah, you can basically do everything during the day. The time is limited, and that's the problem of time, of course. And I've understood this on the example with Destiny 2, as I'm playing Destiny 2 since its release. So I've played in the first Destiny, and then I've played in Destiny 2 since its release. And they've really cultivated fear of missing out in their players. So they had several iterations with the seasonal model, where you basically have these limited missions, and with their limited weapons, limited this, limited that. You have limited everywhere shop. It's a microtransactions bullshit in Destiny 2. And they've really cultivated this fear of missing out for a long time in their player base. And as I was part of this player base, of course, I was also affected. I'm not blaming them or anything. That's just their business model. That's how they make money. Because of course, when people like you have the game running for 10 years, how you could improve the retention of players? That's you don't have any ace in your sleeves or something like that. For example, they can introduce a new yearly expansion, which they do actually, and they are big bangers, and I like playing them. But they also have to make money for another 11 months in the year, and the only thing they could do is to use these tricky psychological caveats, such as fear of missing out, such as microtransactions, capitalizing on people's brain insufficiencies, and so on. So there are many mental hacks in game development, and that's why games don't feel fun anymore, because you are just being exploited. And when you do a little of research, you start to understand it, and it's not fun to play the game when you have this battle pass, which gives you the false sense of progression, when you have these numbers, these looter shooter mechanics, cases, loot boxes, etc., etc. Not fun anymore. And yeah, now it all turns now it all becomes completely clear that I was affected by this fear of missing out, and this fear of missing out projected toward on my other life areas. So for example, you can count C# as Destiny 2 in some sense, because they also have this yearly release cycle, and they also drop in updates every 3 or 4 months, and yeah, basically easily could be a live service game, the C# language. But you also have this Python, you have this C++, where C++ is okay because they're dropping their huge releases every 3 years. That's where you can catch up with it, and you can easily learn C++ alongside anything. But then you have JavaScript, they have a 1-day release cycle, so every fucking day they drop a new JavaScript framework. I was part of it for a while, but you can't live in this paradigm for a long time. It's just not sustainable in any situation. They don't have standard library in language. That's why they have a lot of libraries. And you also see this, damn bro, this new library is insane, and the guy champions this new library, and you are thinking that you are basically missing out something. You are going in another complete direction from what you've been doing for a while. You just switch your attention to another JavaScript framework and learn it for a while, and then another thing drops, and that's continuous cycle. It isn't sustainable. Human brain can't stand it. And then you have Rust, what else? Go, all these new fancy languages, which claims to be the next frontier, the future of programming. But then you kind of go to the job market, and the guys still programming in Java 8, C# or C++, pure JavaScript, so they still using jQuery. I even didn't know what the jQuery is, but then I've understood that it's technology from a decade ago or something like this to manipulate the DOM effectively. They still use React, class components, all this stuff. So all these new shiny things, they will eventually merge with this mainstream branch, and you don't need to hustle to learn them first. You will have your time to learn them, and you don't have to fear that you're missing something interesting, because in many cases that's just another attention economy thing, when all these languages basically competes for developers' advantage, not advantage, but attention, and yeah, like this. Okay, we've already been talking for 27 minutes, so let's outline the framework for the third leap, and I've outlined it here. So it starts from it should start from the 29th of May, because it's the Monday. So first major change is that I've bumping my total efforts up to 60 minutes instead of 30 right now. So I have total greater or equal 30. That's the first thing. Another thing that I'm now merging my exercise experimental branch with the main one. So now I have 2 habits to maintain, which is a nice thing to do, as I've proven to do this for quite a while. So it was an experiment thing in this second leap, and now it's in the production branch, in the master branch, as you may say. What else? Now I want to introduce the concept of focus point, and the focus point is the effort, the only one effort. So as you may see here, I have, when I do my C#, I don't do my thesis or when I do university, because it was at efforts part of at first. I don't do my thesis or C# or something like that. Then I start doing my C#, and I don't do anything at university, and so on. So they basically are interchangeable. And I think the problem is that there are too many of them, so we have 2 efforts. It's already too much for the brain to handle. So we have to introduce the single focus point. And for me, this focus point should be Deutsch, because I'm planning to move to Österreich. So the Deutsch is, of course, the main language there. I have to know it to be able to communicate with the locals and so on. And I also generally do like learning new languages. So yeah. And the German for me is a great language. I find it beautiful and really, mm, really interestingly sounding language like this. So I decided to introduce focus point. I still think that it will fail this system because you have to introduce a complete action. But I'll figure out this later this day because we are running out of time. Another thing to do is that I've decided to set goals for the next efforts. So I only have one effort here, so I have to put goals. But if I had like two efforts, I had to specify which goals or what exactly I want to achieve with this effort. For example, we can have algorithms, and for the algorithms, let's say it could be so the leap lasts for 70 days. So for algorithms, it could be solve 50 LeetCode problems or something like that. And that will be the metrics, whether my leap was successful or not. For the introspection part, it isn't feasible because introspection is just when I'm thinking about myself, about basically reflecting on the state of things, and that's it. I've decided to introduce the couple of experiments. First of all, it was drawing, but then I changed it to React because React sounded more specific than drawing. But then I've decided to step out of React because the next thing is that the next world event, I think it should be to narrow programming languages just to Python and C#. So to kind of conquer my fear of missing out about programming languages. But I'm still thinking about it. The decision will be made later, but the idea is basically to restrict myself from using JavaScript and watching countless hours of content about the framework that I will never use in my entire life and thinking that I'm missing something important. Just concentrate on the moment, concentrate on what you can do right now to improve your situation, what will be the right decision to do. Of course, I see this from this perspective. For me, it's very important to get the physics, the degree basically in physics or mathematics, because I think that is based and it really stimulates your thinking and reframes how you think. So this goal was set. And the only two programming languages actually in the scientific sphere or somehow related to science are the C, C++, Python, and that's it basically. You don't have to know anything else. But I still love C#, and for me, I think it's becoming something like Destiny 2 once was. Just like to see how this language develops, like to play it time to time, so build something interesting. But actually, I think that I won't use JavaScript in my career. Yes, it is a very popular language, but I don't want to draw stupid interfaces doing front end. It's just not the thing that I'm excited about. I've built a single interface in my entire life, and it was done in C# and Blazor. So I just took the components and slapped them into the HTML code, and that was it. It was fun, as I've mentioned previously, but of course, that's not something I'm proud of. Just taking components and assembling the interface. And then thanks to WebAssembly, you can, of course, do this C# in the browser thing. But I still do understand that web development couldn't be done entirely without JavaScript. That's why I still I don't know how to say it, so I can't actually choose whether I should restrict JavaScript or not. But at the end, I think that I should do this. I should restrict for 70 days and just look what will happen, because I do understand that JavaScript. So when you're using C# in your browser and using WebAssembly, JavaScript will only serve as an auxiliary thing, And this auxiliary thing is usually an advanced thing. So maybe some specific DOM manipulation or a specific Ajax request or something like this. And on the basic level, which I'm currently on right now, you won't need any JavaScript at all to write a good website or do any pet project. And I think C# is more than capable of doing everything I need to do at this stage of my life. So restricting JavaScript usage would be a nice world event to kind of follow. And I hope it will decrease my fear of missing out, because I now have 2 languages to focus. Basically, I want to do algorithms because I want to use Python for algorithms. C# is also great, but Python lets you focus on the solution, not to fighting with the language itself. So Python code is okay to solving algorithms. That's basically it. 35 minutes already. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Wish you a great week. Thanks for being with me for already 140 days. I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but again, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. So I've already made 20 videos every week on Sunday. I was struggling to sit and record this time, but that's the decision tree I wanted to have. So today I've decided that no matter what, I will sit and record this effort. I will continue the streak no matter what. If I won't able to speak fluently and the thoughts won't go, I just sit there, just report what was done during the sleep, etc., etc. But as you may have noticed, the flow was it was okay, not the perfect one, of course, because I'm not still not in the native language environment, so I do have to force myself to talk in English. I'm not a native speaker or anything like this, but I think I was able to communicate my ideas about my thoughts about the sleep. And the initial goal of all of this was to build credibility. So build credibility that you are able to sit there every Sunday, record the video and post it online. That's it. And that what was I thinking about when I was starting to recording this, because still everybody was so I live currently now with my family, and I'm a little bit embarrassed about what they will think of what I'm doing. So basically talking to nobody in his room alone. Yeah, but today I've overcame this fear, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself. And I think that these small wins is what makes your word credible. So when you have actually this experience, your experience that you've been in this situation and you've recorded it, that's what builds you credibility. Okay, once again, thanks for listening. I will just upload it right now and then fix some minor mistakes because I have to go. My friend waits me. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and bye-bye.